let's have a chat about my new favourite Co-Ord set. It's been made in a gorgeous floaty viscose and it's an easy pull-on top and some smart wide leg trousers. So let's have a nosy at my outfit together. Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my sewing channel. Yes, the eagle-eyed among you will have noticed we're not in my sewing space, and I will be popping a little montage up here of the reason why. I'm halfway through giving it a really good sort out and it's a mess. So we've relocated to a corner of the lounge for today's vlog. So what's been going on in my sewing head, in my sewing space this week? Well, a few days ago, I got an amazing shout out on my channel from Kristen from the DAHLIA Society, and I was absolutely blown away. She gave me my channel the most amazing review and encouraged people to come over and watch me. So if you are one of my new subscribers who's come across from Kristen's channel, welcome to the Crazy Sewing Gang. I hope you get some sewing inspiration. Join in the chat, we're all a really friendly bunch. So if you don't know about the DAHLIA Society, I will pop the link to Kristen's channel below. She's based in Australia, but she does post out worldwide. And I, for one, I've got my radar out for one of her advent calendars. They're not live yet, but I've signed up for the newsletter so that, fingers crossed, I can get one before they all go. So go and have a look at Kristen's channel. There is a little bit of a skew if you're in the UK because obviously their seasons are different to ours, but at the moment they're coming into summer out of winter and we're coming to the end of our summer. So it's a really good time to go and watch channels from Australia because they sort of start to overlap, if you know what I mean. Go and watch the DAHLIA Society's channel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Kristen. I so was blown away by what you said about my little sewing channel. I don't know what else to say really. I was quite choked up. It was such a shock. Out of nowhere, we don't know each other, and to say the things that she said about my little sewing channel was just so beautiful and so kind and considerate to think about another small sewing channel, because there's lots of us out there, and the fact that she picked me blew me away. So while I was watching the DAHLIA Society, Kristen went through some patterns that she wants to try. She chose some from my collection because mine was a dresses collection, and she chose a couple of the dresses that I'd shown, and then she chose some other patterns as well, and one of the patterns that she chose I've ordered. So thanks Kristen, you introduced me to a new pattern and I can't wait to try it. But before we talk about patterns, because I've bought 4 new patterns, yes, 4 new patterns, let's talk about what I've been sewing this week. Now, you will remember last week I said it was going to be the Mitchells, so let's see how I got on making the Mitchell trousers from Closet Core Patterns. So Rita's back in the room and she's wearing my complete Co-Ord set, which I'd already made the top, which was the Donny Shirt from Friday Pattern Company, and then I've teamed it up with the Mitchell trousers from Closet Core Patterns. So I'm going to pop some images while I talk about each of these 2 garments, and then at the end of this vlog we'll do a little catwalk of the outfit on so you can see how it looks, because I am chuffed to bits with it. So let's talk about the Donny shirt. It's from Friday Pattern Company. It's been out for quite a while, and this version I've made with a contrasting collar, and all the fabrics in this outfit are from Jenny Stitches. So this is a floral viscose linen, and then the leaf green viscose linen I've used for the collar so that it matches with the trousers. So let's talk the stats for the Donny shirt. The Donny shirt is a boxy pull-on top designed to be a workhorse in your wardrobe. Use light to medium weight woven fabrics. Comes in size extra small up to 7XL, which equates to a UK 6 up to a 34. The amount of fabric you'll need is 1.1 to 1.7 metres, or alternatively 1.2 to 1.9 yards. So that's my Donny shirt. Absolutely love it to bits. The things that I like about the Donny is that I've been able to do the contrasting collar. There's no buttons on it, it's a pull over the head top. And you stitch down the facings on the front, which means you don't have flappy facings, which is something that really annoys me. And then we'll just turn Rita around because it has some lovely little gathers on the back yoke, and yes, you do the burrito method. So things that you're going to learn making the Donny. A good way to put a collar in if you've not tackled a collar before, and the burrito method on the back yoke. But there are no buttons, so a confident beginner should be able to tackle the Donny with relatively little problems. I've made 3 of these so far. The first one I made was too big. I went off my measurements on the chart and it told me I needed to make a size medium, and it was absolutely huge. So I've sized down this one, and the second one that I made are both size small, and the fit is much better. Size small is the perfect fit for me. So let's move on to the Mitchells. I'm going to go through the stats with you first, and then when we come back we'll probably zoom down to the bottom half of Rita so that you can actually see the Mitchells when I'm talking about them, so I apologise if you can't see my pretty face. But let's talk about the Mitchells. The Mitchell trousers are from Closet Core Patterns, and they say they're inspired by a genius songwriter with timeless style. I never knew I was a songwriter. Wow. It's a modern interpretation of classic pleated trousers, and they are stunning. The fabric they recommend is medium weight wovens, linen wool, tencel twills. The sizing is a UK is from 0 to 20, which equates to a UK size 6 to 20. The amount of fabric you need is 2.5 to 2.75 metres, or 2.75 yards to 3 yards. So let's talk about my Mitchells, and then I'll zoom down and show you the detail in them. So I've made a size 8, and they are a really good fit. Really pleased with them. So the sizing on their chart is bob on. They really do come out true to size. So the alterations, because obviously I'm a midget and I have to alter everything, the alterations I've made for the Mitchells are, I've taken 1 inch out of the crotch on the front and on the back by just folding it over in the centre of the crotch line, front and back. I've taken 5 inches off the leg length, and possibly 6 if I'm honest, depending on whether I'm wearing with flats or heels. So 5 to 6 inches off the length, but because they're just a parallel leg, that's easy enough to do. So let's talk about the details on the Mitchells. These are the ones that I made. They have a fly front and they don't have a waistband, they have waist facings, which is really good if you struggle with trousers strangling you, as I call it, at your middle. These won't do that. They're a really comfortable fit because there's no waistband on them. So they've got a fly front zip. This detail here is where they have the pleat detail at the front. So you've got your pocket there, and then the pleat is sewn. There's a pleat then that comes out from the middle, and it's sewn down and lands, meets up with the top of the pocket and flows past it. And I think it's a beautiful detail. Absolutely love that. Because there's not loads of gathers and loads of tucks in the front, it's just one big pleat, it means the front is very flat and very flattering. Moving to the side, you have these side tabs, and I've used a gold slider. You can use 2D rings as well, and this can be tightened and slackened off, so it gives you a little bit of wiggle room in your waistline. If you're lucky enough to lose some weight, you can cinch them in a bit at the side using the slider. Let's move to the back. Now, the back, you do have the option of adding a welt pocket, and I added one welt pocket and then chickened out and thought, I can't do this. They're so hard to do for me. The reason I didn't carry on is because when I got to the point where this is the back dart and the pocket is meant to finish at the bottom of the dart, but the bottom of my dart is there through the bottom of the pocket, and I can't have my welt pocket any lower because it'd look ridiculous. It's in the wrong point on my bum. So I wasn't very happy with that. So that's the only niggle that I had. Now, whether it's something that I've done wrong, I don't know. I'm not one for automatically blaming the pattern company, but that's how it turned out with me. So going forward, I love the Mitchells. Won't be putting welt pockets in the back. But apart from that, absolutely stunning pair of trousers. So pleased I'd already made one pair, so pleased I've made another. Now, I said at the beginning of my vlog that I'd bought 4 new patterns, and I have. So let's have a look at the new patterns. They're all from StyleArk, because at the moment, I think until the 30th of July, they've got 30% off all their patterns. So if you fancy some StyleArk patterns, I will pop the link to the ones I've bought below. Go and have a nosy. StyleArk instructions can be a bit dodgy. Not dodgy, just hard work. If you're a beginner, not for you. You've got to have some sewing under your belt. They assume an awful lot, but they have some beautiful, beautiful patterns. So let's have a look at the ones that I snaffled in their sale. The first StyleArk pattern I got is the ROWIE knit top and dress. This is one that Kristen showed on the DAHLIA Society, and I fell in love with it. It looked stunning on her, so fingers crossed it looks equally stunning on me. It's a slip-on design with or without sleeves, funnel neck and shaped body, shoulder tucks, mid-body side gathers. So for a simple looking dress, there's a lot going on with it. I'm going to be doing it for the autumn and winter. They recommend jersey, spandex and knits. It comes in sizes 4 to 24, and the amount of fabric you need is 2 to 3.3 meters of fabric, meters. or 2.2 to 3.6 yards. I don't have any fabric in my stash that is suitable for this, so when I go to the Festival of Quilts later this week, I'm going to be on the lookout for some stunning fabric to make the ROWIE dress. I also want to make the top version. I think it's going to look great in some viscose jerseys, cotton jerseys, a nice simple top with that cowl neck detail at the front. Great workhorse in my winter wardrobe, so I'm going to get 2 or 3 of those made up. Think I'm going to do them in plain colours, and then they are good to mix and match with different outfits. But yes, loving the idea of the ROWIE knit top. So thanks for that one, Kristen. I would never have looked at it, and I saw it on you and thought, yes. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's seeing a garment on a real body and realising it looks nothing like the pattern, pictures and diagrams. So let's have a look at the next pattern that I snaffled up. Pattern number 2 is the WREN jacket. This is a square shaped jacket with a scarf and blanket stitch finish option. It's an unlined jacket. So it's quite a simple jacket, but I love the blanket stitch detail, love the patch pockets, and I love the scarf. Fabric recommendations are Melton, boiled wool, wool and linen. Sizes go from a 4 up to a 30. The fabric amounts that you need are 1.6 to 2.3 metres of fabric, or 1.75 to 2.5 yards depending on your size. Fabric ideas that I'm thinking I want to make this in. I've got some really nice pale pink boucle that I got off the swaps table when I went to the sewing retreat week earlier in the year. So just let me grab it and then we can have a think about whether it's going to work or not. Here we go. This is the fabric that I'm thinking of making the WREN jacket in. It's a really super soft, snuggly boucle and lovely and soft on the inside as well, because sometimes you can get a boucle and it's quite hard on the inside, and if this is an unlined jacket I want it to be snuggly on the inside as well. So I really am quite keen to make the WREN in this and then do some contrasting blanket stitch. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. I think the blanket stitch is going to have to be done by hand, and I need to think about what to use. Do I use wool? I don't know. And what colour? I'm tempted to do a really bright pink or a fuchsia pink with it. Maybe go subtle and just do cream. Let me know what colour blanket stitch you do the WREN jacket in with this boucle. So the third style arc pattern that I snaffled up is something that's a little bit different for me, but it's been on my radar for quite a while. Didn't really have the confidence to do it, don't know why, but decided that this winter is going to be the year that I make a cape. And Style Arc have a couple of cape patterns, but the one that I've chosen is the NELL cape. So let's have a look at the details for the NELL. The NELL cape from Style Arc Patterns is a fashionable cape with bound edge and inseam pockets. It comes in sizes 4 up to a 30, and the fabric amounts that you need are 1.75 to 2.25 metres, or 1.9 to 2.5 yards. They recommend any mid to heavyweight woven fabric. So I've got some very definite ideas about what I want to do with this cape. So let me grab the fabrics and then we can talk through it together. So here we go. This is the fabric that I want to do the cape in. It's got lots of sparkle in it, hasn't it? And I bought this from Abercarn's last winter and didn't do anything with it, so it's been languishing in my stash ever since about October last year. And I'm quite keen to try the cape in this fabric because although it's got the sparkling, it's blacks and greys, so we'll go with a lot of my outfits. So I think that means I'm working on the idea that I'll get more wear out of it. Now the cape isn't lined, but it says you can line it if you want to. And I just think I quite like it lined. I feel like it's not finished off if it's not. And I've got this black and grey lining to go on the inside. Now I know they're a bit boring maybe. I might do a brighter lining. Let me know what you think about this lining with this fabric. Is it too samey? Do I need to go for a different colour? But I'm trying to keep it. You will see the lining with it being a cape. So I want it to match whatever I'm wearing. So I thought, no, keep the lining quite plain. Well, it's patterned, but you know what I mean. Greys and blacks colouring in the lining, and then it will still go with the outfit, whatever I'm wearing. I do still want to do the bias binding detail on the cape, but line it as well. So I'll probably line it, turn it out, and then still do the bias binding round it just to give it that finishing touch. So possibly silver, or maybe tone it down a bit grey, but some nice bias binding for it. I might make my own if I can find a nice piece of fabric that I think will work for it, or I might just buy some satin bias binding because they can look stunning, can't they? So that is my idea for the NELL cape. Let me know what you think. The last pattern that I've chosen from CATWALK, I've been looking at for a while and chickened out actually because I thought, no, I'm not tall enough to get away with those trousers, but I'm going to give them a go. And they're the Atlas pants. So let's have a look at the images and what they say about the Atlas pants. The Atlas woven pants from CATWALK Patterns are a waisted, wide leg cropped pant, wide twisted pleat detail and side pockets. It comes in sizes 4 up to 30 and the amount of fabric you'll need is 2 to 2.4 metres or 2.2 to 2.6 yards. They recommend medium woven cotton, linen and denim. So what am I going to make these trousers in? I've got the fabric that I definitely want to make these in. Just give me a min. This is the fabric that I want to make these unusual twist pleat trousers in. It's a plain or a solid as they call it, and it's a lyocell twill fabric, and I got this from Lamazi Fabrics. If you see lyocell twill or tencel twill fabric in a colour that you like, I totally recommend it for floaty trousers with a bit more structure. That's the best way to describe it, because the twill weave gives it structure, but the lyocell or the tencel that it's made in makes it much more floaty than if you've got a cotton fabric or a chambray fabric. This, it's got a little bit of structure, so I think it will take those pleats well, but because the big wide leg trousers. I didn't want them sticking out at the sides and make me look even bigger than I am already. They're going to float and flow. That's the plan. So that is my patterns and all my plans for my style art patterns. I hope it's given you some inspiration and some ideas. Go and have a bob over on Style Arc and have a look at what they've got on offer, because as I said, there is a discount on everything at the moment. Now, what am I going to be doing this week? Well, I know I say it every week, but I have genuinely got a busy week this week. I'm out all day today, Monday. Tomorrow I've got a joiner coming round. We want some work doing on the house, so he's going to come round and price up for that. So that's a couple of hours out of my day already, isn't it? Wednesday I've got to pack, because on Thursday I'm going down to Festival of Quilts on the Thursday. Then we're staying over in Birmingham for 2 nights. I'll be with Steph and Sharon. The 3 of us are staying over at the Travel Lodge at the Bullring for 2 nights. So Friday we're going to do the Rag Market. We might do Barry's. I think we're going to end up at Guthrie and Garney, and then hopefully get something to eat for our evening meal over that direction. And then Saturday we're off to Adele's social. If you don't know who Adele is, you've not been watching many vlogs, have you? So Adele, Sofa Serenity, does her own social over Birmingham direction. So there is one on the Saturday, and Steph and I are going to go and spend the day sewing at Adele's social, and then we're coming home. So not a lot of actual sewing time. I need to think of something to make at the social, but other than that, I don't think I'm going to get much done. So not sure what I'm taking to the social. Probably make a start on my Barcelona garments. So I think actually I will take the Seasons of East dress to make, because I've made it before. So I need to decide which of my fabrics I'm going to make it in, take that with me to make at Adele's social, or make a start on it anyway, because you know what it's like when you get talking. Time flies and you get nothing done. So next Monday's vlog will hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can be organised enough and record enough, it will be come to Birmingham with us. So I hope you'll understand that there won't be a sewing vlog next Monday. It's going to be rummaging for fabrics, wandering around Festival of Quilts, and other shenanigans that we get up to while we're in Birmingham. The last thing we need to talk about before I love you and leave you is the sewing bee this week. Yes, I haven't forgotten. Thank you to everybody who has joined in the sweep. I think there's about 40 of you all joined in. And let's have a look at what happened and what I think of the makes from last Tuesday's episode. So 2 people were voted out. And let's see what I think about who was voted out. And we can have a chat in the comments below. Let me know if you think it was fair, if you think Patrick and Esme picked the right garments as the winners, or whether you think there were others more deserving. So this week on the Sewing Bee, it was Sports Week. Now, I used to think, oh my God, I could never make sportswear. And now I just think I'm really, really into my jersey fabrics, and realise how much easier it is to sew in jersey than it is in woven. Obviously I've got a very good overlocker, but this week I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get some real inspiration from what they make this week. So let's have a chat about what the challenge was first. So the challenge this week was to make a cap, a sports cap, Not sure it's something I'm going to make, if I'm honest, but there were some stunning versions. I think they all did brilliantly. It's one of those things that looks really simple but has a lot of tricky details in it. So I've chosen 3 that I liked. The first one I liked was Safi's hat. There's Safi's hat. I liked the fact that the colours were toning with each other and patterns and planes all worked together. Really thought that was a smart version of a sports cap. The second one was Yasmin, and I chose Yasmin because it had a bit of popping pink in it, a bit of contrast, nice colours that went together well, I thought. But the one that I liked the best was Stuart's. I liked the idea that Stuart had used all one fabric. The fabric that he chose had lots of different prints on it, so he used all the different areas of the fabric to make the cap, and I thought that was brilliant and came out really well. Because it was all one piece of fabric, he knew it all went together, so it just made it a little bit easier, I think. But yes, Stuart's was the one that I would have picked. But Patrick and Esme obviously can get up close and personal to the sewing aspect that we can't see. And they picked Kit's, which was obviously sewn extremely well. Now Kit's only been sewing for a year, I do believe, so absolutely hats off to him for making that. You get it? Hats off. Stop being silly, Christine. Let's move on to the transformation challenge. They got 3 cycling tops each and they had to transform it into a completely different garment. This sends me into cold sweats. I just would not be able to do it. I'd have to, wouldn't I? But I would really struggle with it. There were some really unusual garments, and that's being polite. So the ones that I've picked are ones that I think realistically could be worn and looked good to me. The first one I've picked is Yasmin's. There's Yasmin's, so perfectly wearable, I think. Let me know what you think. Then I picked Ola. Loved the Go Days in that dress. Brilliant idea, but apparently the sewing aspect of it wasn't great, but absolutely loved that one. And the third one that I picked is Novello. I absolutely loved the fact that she'd done that plaited neckband. It just made it a little bit different. So transformation challenge, Yasmin, Ola and Novella for me. Patrick and Esme chose Kit again. Made to measure next. They had to do an athleisure outfit, which is, if you don't know what one is, it's an outfit that you can wear doing your sport, but then walk away and look perfectly well put together in everyday life. So, the athleisure outfits that I liked were Stuart. I loved the cute shorts and top, and the way he did that piping, as Patrick and Esme said, was sublime. So Stuart definitely was one of my 3. The next one that I picked was Ola. Now there were a few of them who did the cropped hoodie and jog bottoms option, but Ola's took it to the next level for me. The contrast of the orange and the grey really worked well together, and apparently her sewing was top notch as well. So Ola is the second one. And the third one for me is Kaz. Yes, gotta love Kaz, haven't we? And that bright yellow skirt and top just popped out on the screen and I absolutely loved it. So Who did Patrick and Esme pick? Well, no surprises. No, they didn't pick Kit. They picked Orla this time. And as I've already said, they did say that her sewing was top notch. So I'm not surprised about that one and quite happy with that choice as well. So what do we think about the two people who got kicked off this week? I know it's quite sad, isn't it? Because they all work so hard, but it's a competition at the end of the day. And this week, surprise, I was so surprised they knocked Peter off. He didn't have a very good week. His made to measure garments weren't the best. The trousers or shorts were about 5 inches too big on the waist, even though Esme had told him to measure his model and compare it against the pattern. He clearly thought he knew better and he didn't listen to the experts. Yeah, so, but I was looking forward to what Peter, as an architect from a structural background, I was looking forward to what he would create going forward, but he's gone sadly. And no surprise to me, if I'm honest, Safi has gone this week. She had another hit and miss week. Last week was hit and miss. I think she did, if they'd have taken somebody off last week, I think she possibly would have been in the running last week as well. So poor Safi's gone. But onwards and upwards, as they say. We've got another sewing bee to look forward to tomorrow, and I can't wait to watch it. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you've enjoyed my little sewing bee snippet at the end of my vlog. I'm off out into the garden now to strut my stuff in my Mitchell's and my Donny Shirt Co-Ord set. So if you wanted to see them out in the wild, stick around because they're coming up next. If you've stumbled across my channel and you've watched this vlog to the end, thank you so much for sticking with me. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and give it a like. If you don't like it, comment below and tell me what I need to change, because I'm producing this content for you guys to inspire you to get your sewing to the next level. And I will see you all next week. Happy sewing! Bye!